Hello and welcome to the astrology forecast. My name is Sage, here as your eye into the sky, letting you know what the cosmic events are, why they matter, and how you can use this information in your everyday life. In this video, we are going to be discussing the full moon in Capricorn happening on Wednesday, July 10th. Now, we are in the midst of Cancer season, and if you are a Cancer, Capricorn, or even a Libra or an Aries, this full moon is going to affect you more than most. Now, this full moon is a 6-month cycle completion that began on December 30th, 2024. So think back for a second, maybe even pause this video if you need to. What was going on for you at the very end of 2024? What New Year's resolution did you set for yourself on New Year's Eve? Think back to that time and what was on your heart. And especially if you know your birth chart, where do you have Capricorn and what was going on in that part of your life? That desire, intention, goal that you set for yourself, whatever that New Year's resolution was, new year, new me, 2025, how is that going for you? And what has come from that decision you made? Because that decision, that manifestation, that intention that you set, we are seeing the culmination for it on the 10th of July. Now, again, it might be that you start to feel the experience of this a couple days before the 10th. You might feel the effects of it a few days after the 10th. We don't have to be exact here. In astrology, it is an art form, but there are dates that matter. There are cycles that matter. And in this case, we are experiencing the end of a 6-month cycle that began basically at the very start of 2025. And we are right now wrapping that up. So we might see a culmination of sorts. We might be celebrating something that we've been working on the last 6 months. This could also be a time of releasing things, as full moons are not just always about illuminating and culminating, but they oftentimes are moments where we're able to release the things that we've been holding on to that really are not helping us on our path towards that enlightenment. And when I say enlightenment, I say it because the moon is all about light and the light that it shines and reflects off of the sun. And therefore, when the moon is at its maximum luminance, right, when it's fully lit, fully bright, we have a full moon. And full moons always do tend to make us feel more emotional, more sensitive. Now, during this full moon in particular, it's in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is not a very emotional sign. In fact, the moon in Capricorn doesn't do too well because this is a sign of logic, practicality, ambition, and success. And we can't always involve our emotions when it comes to those things. But the moon in Capricorn does have its traits that do make it good and do make it helpful for us in a lot of ways because it comes in the middle of Cancer season when we are very deep in our feels and we might be experiencing a lot of deep emotional things going on in our life, within our family, within our home, as those are all things that Cancer rules over. The moon in Capricorn is the reminder to us that we still have dreams of our own to pursue, that we still have goals that we want to reach, that our careers are the way that we show up in the world, all of these things that make us who we are outside of our immediate nuclear family and our home life, those things matter too. So the moon in Capricorn is that beautiful reminder that you still have things you're working towards that you want to achieve. And while your home and your family do take priority, especially during Cancer season, don't sleep on your dreams, says the moon in Capricorn. And so during this video, we're going to look at how the moon in Capricorn is showing up in your chart, as it will look different for every single person. Now, I do recommend you fast forward to your rising sign first and foremost, as that'll be the most accurate interpretation of this energy. However, if you don't know your rising sign, as I know some of us don't know it, that is totally fine. You can listen for your sun sign and still gain a lot of valuable insight. And hey, if you know your moon sign, as all of us should be able to know our moon sign, you don't need to know what time you were born to know your moon sign for the most part. Therefore, if you also want to listen for your moon sign and gain some more deeper retrospective energy and awareness about this full moon, please feel free to do that as well. And if you've been getting value from my videos, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, the like button, comment, do all the things. And of course, I offer personal birth chart readings, couples readings, monthly readings, just to see what's popping off in your chart. I do that all. So the link is below if you're interested in booking a one-on-one private reading with myself via Zoom. Aries and Aries rising. Aries, consider what intentions you set career-wise back at the end of 2024, also at the very beginning of 2025. This full moon in Capricorn is activating your 10th house of career. Now, The 10th house is the house of your public image, your career, your titles, what people know you for. Having a full moon here is bringing a lot of the focus to that part of your life. Now, Aries, right now you have had Jupiter and the sun completely expanding your home life, your living situation, all things related to home and family. You've probably been putting a lot more of your focus and your attention in that part of your life. But this full moon is a reminder that you also have your own goals. And as an Aries rising, it's important to pour into yourself. So really consider, what is it career wise that you want to attain? And have you attained something career wise since the beginning of the year that you can celebrate? And if you have, Aries, this full moon is your opportunity, your hall pass, so to speak, to take a break and to celebrate and to really enjoy the fruits of all your labor. Now, this full moon in Capricorn is also forming a really nice trine with Mars in Virgo in your sixth house, which means that the focus is on work and on service. And there's a practicality here where emotions don't always play as big of a part. If it feels good to get to work, that's what it's all about. Be careful you don't overwork yourself. But at the same time, Aries, you do have a lot of stores of energy in your reserves. And this might be the time when you really feel like you want to really use it and leverage that energy, because again, this is the time to put the focus back on you, back on your career, and how you can really celebrate how far you've come since the beginning of the year, and also consider what might not be working in your career, what systems and anything, that you've been practically building career wise. Is there something that needs to be released with that? And if so, utilize this full moon as your opportunity to do so. Aries, if you are interested in learning more about this transit, more about this full moon, and understanding how it is showing up in your chart specifically, hit the link below and you can book a private reading with myself. And of course, with that, I wish you a very happy and fulfilling full moon in Aries. And fuck that up in Aries. And with that, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Taurus and Taurus rising. Taurus, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your ninth house. The ninth house is the house of higher learning, education, mental expansion. This involves foreign travel, religion, philosophy, and even astrology. Now, Taurus, right now, you have had the sun and Jupiter really activating your third house, which is all about your mind as well. But the third house is much more focused on the lower mind. It is all the things that you see on a day-to-day basis, interact with, the podcasts you listen to, the books you pick up at the end of the day and you read a couple pages of. The third house is also the house of communication and ideas. And you can kind of relate this house to like elementary school, and then the ninth house is like college or university. So right now and over the last couple of weeks, ever since Cancer season started, the sun's been there. It's been in the third house. And so you might have been way more focused on your local surroundings, on the people, the places, the things that you see, hear, and learn from every single day. But this full moon is your reminder to think greater than your local environment. Go beyond where you go every single day, Taurus. I know you love routine. I understand there is comfort in familiarity. However, this full moon in Capricorn in your ninth house is encouraging you to consider how far you've come as far as expanding your surroundings, expanding your perspective of the world. This could involve travel. Have you traveled, Taurus risings, over the last 6 months? And if so, is this full moon culminating something in the area of travel for you that you can either celebrate or learn from? This also might be an opportunity to consider what you've learned on a philosophical, religious, or even spiritual note, how far you've come with that. Even teaching, if you are in the role of a teacher or maybe in the role of a student, whatever is going on for you as far as your studies, this is a great opportunity. This full moon is expanding that for you, showing you where you should put your focus towards. What should you be learning about? What is it that makes you feel the best and aligns with you the most, right? Taurus, you need to consider that yes, there is comfort in familiarity, but at the same time, you want to expand on the things that you know so you can grow and become an even better version of yourself based on that which you've experienced. And that usually doesn't happen if you stay in the same place. And that is what this full moon is reminding you. Taurus says, if you are interested in diving deeper into this energy, learning more about how this full moon and all of the other transits going on right now are affecting you, the link is below. You can book a private reading with me via Zoom and we can dive into that together. And with that, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Gemini and Gemini rising. Geminis, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your eighth house, which is all about other people's money and values. It's also the house of death, sex, rebirth, deep psychological things that we usually explore in private, in the shadows, and in secret. This is the place of the chart that is very intimate, very vulnerable, and very private. Oftentimes, it's things that we don't tell people about, or it's the things that we lie about and keep secret, such as the money that we earn, that our partners earn, or our sex life for that matter. We don't usually talk about those things, and death. We don't always talk about death. Now, with this being said, having a full moon here expands all of those things that I just said, meaning that you might be focusing a lot more on your experience as a human being and the role of death in your life. You might be reflecting on how things have been going intimately for you over the last 6 months, right? This is a full moon in your house of intimacy and sex that is not just about the physical, but about the emotional. And it is a full moon. So there could be a lot more emotion involving that topic in your life. Now, this is also a money house, Geminis. And so there is a lot of focus on income. Now, Jupiter is moving through your second house, and you guys are in luck because for the next year, you have an expansion of income coming your way. Now, this right now is also hanging out with the sun, which is also in Cancer. So Geminis, you're probably having a lot of focus right now on making money, but this full moon is reminding you that money doesn't always have to come through your efforts. That value, intimacy, that shared energy exchange that happens when we make a financial transaction or when we have a sexual transaction with somebody, that sometimes you can gain just as much value from those experiences than you can just from making money on your own. So, Geminis, consider the role of income in your life. Consider the role of value and how much you want to rely on people for money and how much you want to rely on yourself for money. This could be the question that you're asking yourself amongst a lot of other questions. Gemini, I give you all a lot of grace, especially Gemini risings, because of course Uranus just entered Gemini. There's a lot of electric energy happening for you, Gemini. You are more than likely experiencing a massive shift going on. This shift is starting and it will not stop. You have a 7-year cycle beginning where a lot of change, freedom, altering who you are in lots of different ways. Gemini, especially Gemini rising, the question of who do you think you are and who do you want to be? And are you willing to get uncomfortable with being different and being seen as that? That is a lot of unpacking. Geminis, if you are interested in really looking at how Uranus is showing up in your chart, how Jupiter is blessing you financially, how Saturn and Neptune are influencing you in terms of social media and your friendships, there's a lot to unpack, especially with your charts in particular. Definitely click the link below to book a reading with me. We can dive into your chart together via Zoom and really look at how all of these cycles are playing out and how you can work with them. So with that, Geminis, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Cancer and Cancer rising. Cancers, there's a lot going on in your charts right now. Number one, Cancers, this full moon is showing up in your seventh house of marriage, one-to-one partnerships, and open enemies. Now, this full moon is opposing the sun and Jupiter, which are currently going through your first house. I'm talking to my Cancer risings here. Now, Jupiter in Cancer just began for you all, and this is a very blessed, very lucky time period. You all are experiencing a 1-year period of time where Jupiter is blessing you and giving you so much luck, so much optimism. Miracles can really happen with this. Fertility is very high with this. Growth, expansion, self discovery, and development. There's a lot that can happen here that feels really magical. Now, the focus has probably been on you for that reason, Cancers, right? Now, you've probably been pouring a lot into your own cup, which is great. That's exactly what you should be doing. But this full moon in Capricorn is your reminder that you also need to consider the other person in your life. Cancers, think back to December 30th, 2024, very end of last year. What New Year's resolution did you set? And did it perchance involve your partnership, maybe business partnership, even a close friend? Or was there something going on in the realm of enemies, somebody that was directly opposing you in some way? What's gone on in that area of your life since then? It has been 6 months since that time that we set some intentions, especially regarding the partnerships in your life. So, Cancers, how is that going? How is your marriage going? If you are married or in a committed relationship, how's that been going? Do you feel like you are in healthy partnerships, whether that be business, platonic, romantic, otherwise. Are you experiencing a realization that some people in your life are maybe not always on your side, right? Maybe they're actually on the opposite side, which is what the seventh house in astrology represents. Cancers, this full moon is your opportunity to kind of cast a light to the other side of your chart for right now and look at what's been going on in terms of the person sitting next to you. And this is going to be really telling if you are able to celebrate that person or if there's some release that has to go on here. All right. So there's a lot that could happen here, Cancers. A lot already is going on in your chart, especially with Saturn and Neptune being conjunct in your 10th house. Career wise, you might be experiencing a huge level up, especially if you are going through your Saturn return. Definitely, you'll want to come talk to me about that. Cancers, in general, if you are curious to find out more about your chart, more about all these transits, the full moon, Jupiter, Saturn, there's a lot happening, guys. If you are interested in diving deeper into that, the link is below. You can book a private reading with me where we can look together at your chart. You'll get a full PDF with all of that. Zoom recording, and you can just dive deeper into how all of this is affecting you and really how to work with it. And with that, Cancers, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Leo and Leo rising. Leos, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of your health, the work that you do every single day, your habits, and your routines. Number one, Leos, the Sun and Jupiter have been activating your 12th house. The 12th house is all about isolation, solitude, your subconscious mind, the dreams that you have, the meditations that you do when no one's around, right? Your spiritual practices that are much more private and really things that you do when you're fully by yourself. That 12th house can be very quiet. And that's what's getting expanded for you right now, Leos. You might be feeling the urge to pull back a little bit. You might be feeling like the spotlight isn't as exciting as it once was, and maybe you want to rediscover parts of yourself that you don't always share with the world. I bring all this up, Leos, because this is what the energy's been. But this full moon in Capricorn is your reminder that there are still things to get done, right? There's a lot in the sixth house that reminds you to get up and get going. There is a huge focus on routines. And so, Leos, I want you to think back to December 30th, 2024. And what intentions did you set for the new year? Did you set some resolutions regarding your health, maybe getting back into the gym? Maybe feeling good in your own skin as far as your healthcare routine, your skincare routine, your fitness routine. There's so much that you might have been doing on a daily basis, Leos, ever since January. And this full moon in Capricorn is your opportunity to celebrate that, to celebrate all the hard work. If you've been going to the gym every single day, Leos, busting your butt, making sure that you are healthy and looking good, utilize this full moon as your chance to say, yes, I did that, and to show off all that hard work. Right now is your opportunity to also look at what's been going well in terms of your routine and your health. And if there's things that need to be improved, or if there's things that you need to get rid of, habits that are not serving you, this is your opportunity to do that, to release those things and to say no more to what is keeping you held back from greater health. This transit in terms of Capricorn and Cancer is all about health for you, Leos, right? It's in the houses of your chart that deal with your physical, mental, and spiritual health. Keeping all those things in check, making sure that they're balanced and in alignment is essential. And what you do on a day to day basis to honor and nurture that is what this full moon is reminding you. Leos, there's a lot happening in your chart, especially again with that 12th house pulling you in. It might be a little awkward as, Leo, you are tending to like to be in the spotlight. And this particular year, you might be finding that you are looking to shine in ways that you haven't before. And if that's a conversation that you want to dive deeper into, the link is below. We can dive deeper into all of what's going on in your chart, not just the full moon, but Saturn and Neptune going through your house of travel and higher education, and looking at the North Node, the South Node, and everything in between. The link is below if you would like to dive deeper into that. Book a private reading where we can look together through Zoom at what's going on for you energetically through the cosmos. And with that, Leos, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Virgo and Virgo rising. Virgos, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your fifth house, which is all about children, dating, romance, fun and games, and pleasure. The fifth house is the house of the chart that reminds you that it is okay to pour into your inner child and to feel good in whatever creative projects, hobbies, or activities that you're partaking in. Fifth house is all about creation, and this involves children, yes, It's also the house of dating, romance, and affairs. Yes. But it's also the house that is mainly focused on pleasure. That's really the key word for this transit for you. So Virgo, you've had Jupiter and the Sun, and you still do currently have Jupiter and the Sun in your 11th house, which is all about friends and networks and those larger groups that you're a part of in the world, right? The social networks, both online and offline, that you associate with, that you consider yourself a part of. That's being expanded for you right now, Virgos. You might be feeling like there's so many people around you that you find that you are joining more groups, that you're being attracted to more groups and people and friends, or maybe you're just gaining real depth and closeness with just a couple friends and it feels so good. Like those friends are becoming like family. Now, that's something you might be experiencing now and for the rest of the year, especially as Jupiter is still going to be moving through that house for you. Right now, however, this full moon is really activating this push pull energy between all of this beautiful Jupiter Cancer energy going on for you in that 11th house of friends and network. But at the same time, now you've got a full moon in Capricorn, which is reminding you that you need to pour into yourself and what makes you feel pleasure. What is it that makes you feel excited? What lights up your inner child? What creative project? What if that's singing or dancing, doing that might be exactly what this full moon is asking you to do. This full moon is a reminder in the sign of Capricorn, no less, that you need to build on the things that give you a reward, not always just about everyone else. The 11th house, which is what's opposing this moon, is so much about the collective that this full moon is your reminder, Virgos, to also pour into you. And this could be sexually, this could be romantically, this could be creatively, this could be tapping into your inner child, maybe watching a movie you haven't seen since you were a kid, or going to a playground and just swinging or going down the slide, something you probably haven't done in a while, but just feels good. Remember, full moons are all about our emotion. And this particular one is about you tapping into what makes you feel pleasure. And again, it's in the sign of Capricorn. So if that means it's logical or you're building something, or even if you're just going back over something you've done before, but you're doing it in a way that feels more authentic for you, Virgos, this is your chance to do that. Now, I will say this, Uranus just entered Gemini for you all, which is your 10th house of career. Virgos, I would not be surprised if over the next 7 years you radically change your career or add in things to your career that no one would have expected. I will say I just experienced Uranus going through my 10th house, and that was when I became an astrologer. So lots can change career wise. It doesn't mean you have to give up your day job. I did not. But at the same time, you can add on things that might feel a little different for people, but at the same time could be very authentic for you and what you yourself are passionate about. So Virgos, there's a lot happening in your charts. And I understand that there's a lot you might want to unpack and analyze together. So if that's something that's calling to you, the link is below. We can dive into your birth chart together, your transits, where all the planets are located, and see how you can better work with this energy. And with that, Virgos, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Libra and Libra rising. Libras, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your fourth house, which is all about your home and your family. Now, this full moon is opposite the 10th house for you, which is where you've had the sun and Jupiter moving through for the last couple of weeks, which obviously means that you've had a lot of focus on career, as the 10th house is very focused on your public image and what you're known for. You might have been very visible in some sense over the last few weeks, Libras. And this full moon is a reminder to refocus your energy back to the home space. Whether that be your physical home, maybe you need to revisit your home and just spend some more time there. This full moon might be forcing you, pushing you to spend more time at home, whether that be through needing to rest, recover, spending time with family, whatever that looks like for you, Libras. This full moon is your opportunity to get very close to what needs to be done at home. In the sign of Capricorn, it's a sign of work, building, practicality, systems, structures. How is your family structure looking for you, right? This full moon is your reminder that while you have been pouring your energy into your work and your career, and you've been really focusing on how you can elevate there, the work at home still needs to be done. Again, this could be physical work or emotional work. Whatever that looks like for you all, Libras, know that this full moon is your chance to get close to the home space, your parents, your family, and your physical dwellings, and check in. Because again, going back to December 30th, 2024, That's when we had the new moon in Capricorn. This is when you more than likely set some goals, set some intentions. Whatever New Year's resolution you made, did it involve your home life or your family in some sense? If it did, Libras, know that this full moon is your chance to celebrate whatever you've worked so hard on these last 6 months in that area of your life. You may very well be seeing the culmination of this full moon, of your home life coming into exactly what you wanted it to be. Or maybe it is illuminating things about your home that you know need to be released or different. And this full moon is showing you that while the 6 month cycle you've been working on since the beginning of the year has been fruitful in probably a lot of ways, there's definitely, of course, been some changes or updates along the way in terms of your home and family. This full moon could also show you what needs to be adjusted moving forward so that way you can better find balance here. As again, Libras, you do require balance, and the home is no different. If you are interested in diving deeper into your charts, Libras, as not only do you have this energy playing out, but of course you have the Jupiter energy moving through your house of career. So I also wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a huge area of focus for you all, as well as Saturn and Neptune moving through your house of marriage. Saturn in the house of marriage can oftentimes bring major life lessons here. A lot can be unpacked with that. And if it is something that's calling to you, the link is below to book a private reading with me where we can dive in together, look at your chart. You'll get a full PDF and Zoom recording so you can go back over everything that's happening for you right now and really dive into what this energy is and how you can better work with it. And with that, Libras, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Scorpios, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your third house. The third house is the house of your local environment. It is the house of your mind, of education in a basic foundational sense. It's the house of communication. It also does rule over neighbors and siblings. So, having a full moon in this house opposing your ninth house brings you back to the basics. That's the best way I would put this. Okay. So, Scorpios, know that right now, with the sun and Jupiter both being in your ninth house, you've more than likely been getting very mentally and even experientially expanded by whatever has been going on for you as far as travel, philosophy, and any studying and learning that you've been a part of, whether that be through your studies in college or university or any coursework you take. This is all very ninth house stuff, and that's probably been the focus for you as of late. So, Scorpios, if you've been studying a lot, if you've been traveling a lot, if you've been diving into different cultures and different belief systems and really focusing on your own religion, spirituality, and philosophy on life, that's typical for this transit. And with Jupiter here, you would probably will be experiencing this for the next year. Scorpios, I wouldn't be surprised if you are the first ones at the top of the list that see the most countries this year, simply because you've got Jupiter moving through your house of foreign travel. But on that note, this full moon in Capricorn is bringing you back home to your local environment. Yes, Scorpios, you've had a blast. You've been expanding yourself, maybe going and visiting places that you've never been to. But this full moon in Capricorn is your reminder to reel it in and to get very clear on what it is that grounds you and allows you to expand in the way you've been expanding. Now, think back to December 30th, 2024. What New Year's resolution did you set for yourself for 2025? And did it have anything to do with learning, teaching, or expanding your mind through travel or studying? If that is the case, if there was any sense of, I want to learn, grow, expand, this is your opportunity to consider how you can do that on a very real, very basic level. This might be going back over the things that you learned years ago and seeing how you've grown since learning those things. Over the last 6 months, have you gained more information, more knowledge, more experience? Have you gotten more connected to your local environment, to your neighborhood, to your surroundings? Perhaps this involves your siblings in some sense, Scorpio. Maybe there's some culminating experience going on here when it comes to siblings, or even people in your life that you consider like a brother or like a sister. Again, these last 6 months have been a culmination up until this point in this area of your chart. So utilize this full moon in Capricorn as your chance to celebrate all that you've learned, to celebrate how well you are able to express yourself and to express all the ideas that you might have gained over these last 6 months. If you've been put into the role of a teacher or a student, how has that gone for you? And again, if you're celebrating, that's amazing, but maybe you're not, and that's okay too. This full moon could be a lesson of what's worked and what hasn't worked. And perhaps you need to release the things that haven't worked so you can learn the things that you need to learn so things can work out better for you. If you would like to dive deeper into your chart and understand not just this full moon, Scorpios, you've got a lot going on. You might want to learn more about what's happening with Uranus. Uranus is moving through your eighth house. This is a house that can go very deep and very dark. In fact, this is modernly associated with the Scorpio house. So, this is something that I would recommend all of you understand more in depth. Jupiter, of course, moving through your house of travel and your belief systems. You might be altering a lot of the ways in which you see the world. And this is something I encourage all of you to look deeper into in your personal birth chart. Link is below if you'd like to schedule a private one-on-one reading with myself. You'll get a full PDF of all these transits, what's been going on for you, and how to better work with this energy. And with that, Scorpios, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your second house of earned income. This is pretty nice in the sense that this particular full moon is all about you and the money you make. Now, over the last couple of weeks, the Sun and Jupiter have been moving through your eighth house. Jupiter will be moving through your eighth house for the next year. And this is the house that is all about the money that you gain from other people. If you're married, this is your spouse's money. This is also inheritances, credit cards, loans, banks, any money that you owe to people or that you borrow from people or vice versa lands in this house. The eighth house does also involve other topics that are not financial, such as death and sex. And those topics are also going to be expanded for you over the next year. In fact, you probably have been already experiencing a lot of focus or maybe just some sense of more energy being placed in that part of your chart. Financially, you might have been noticing that there was more of an emphasis on the money that you share with somebody or some entities in your life. And this full moon in particular is your reminder that you are still in the driver's seat when it comes to your finances. And you are still in control of building a plan, a financial plan that works for you. Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn, is very practical, pragmatic, organized, and it likes to get to the top. It likes to succeed. This is a very money motivated moon for you. This is your chance to say, I'm going to actually achieve whatever it is that I've set out for myself financially, whatever goals I have in terms of the money I want to make or how I want to make it. Look at how that's gone for you over the last 6 months and see if this is a trend you want to continue or if there's things that need to be changed. On December 30th of 2024, we had a new moon in Capricorn, which was more than likely when you set some intentions regarding your income, your expenditures, and overall how you feel about the money that you make. This has been a 6 month cycle leading up until now. And this particular full moon is now a culmination of that 6 month cycle, which is illuminating for you how things have gone financially and offering you the opportunity to either celebrate and look at how well things have gone or to consider what needs to be released, maybe what spending patterns or habits or even ways of earning income need to be released in order for you to move into that next level of financial success and achievement, which is what Capricorn energy is all about. Now, Sagittarius, there's also a lot going on for you in the realm of relationships and dating and marriage, as you've got Uranus activating your house of marriage. This is definitely going to shake some things up. You've also got Saturn and Neptune activating your house of dating and children. And so, Sagittarius, there's a lot to unpack in your chart. If you are interested in looking deeper into how everything is showing up for you, not just the full moon, but all of these other planets that are taking effect over the next couple of years, there's a lot to look at and to be aware of. And the link is below if you would like to book a private reading with me where you'll get a full PDF copy of all that's happening in your chart, how to work with it, and we can dive into that together and have a real conversation around what's going on in your birth chart. The link is below to book that with me and we can dive into that together. But with that, Sagittarius, I wish you a very happy and financially prosperous full moon in Capricorn. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Capricorns, this full moon in Capricorn is truly all about you. Now, thinking back to December 30th of 2024, I really encourage you to consider what resolutions you set for yourself. And this was truly a resolution that was outside of any other part of your life. I'm not asking about your career goals or your financial goals or your marriage goals or your parenting goals, right? This is about what it was for you at the very beginning of this year that you said you were going to do for you. This full moon is your chance to look at how that's gone for you. It has been 6 months since that intention was set, since that seed was planted. And since then, Capricorns, how have you bloomed? How have you grown and blossomed over the last 6 months? This is your opportunity to really pour into yourself. Now, over the last couple of weeks, and what will continue over the next year, is you're having an expansion of your seventh house of marriage and partnership. So, Capricorns, this is your opportunity to more than likely link arms with somebody, right? Now, if you're already married, this is a really positive energy that's blessing your marriage. That's more than likely going to bring you together and enhance and expand the love that's already there. If you're not married, then this is your opportunity to potentially gain some level of connection, some deeper emotional ties being built with people, and particularly with one person. As the seventh house is the house of one to one partnership. So you might feel an expansion of one to one partners in your life, AKA somebody that you're maybe dating, or a best friend, or even a business partner. Those are all likelihoods. And that's what's going on for you over the next year. And perhaps over the last couple of weeks, you've been focusing on that. But this full moon, Capricorns, is your reminder to not forget about yourself. It's easy to pour into other people. It's easy to put the focus on the other person in your life. But Capricorns, this full moon is your reminder that you have to pour into yourself first before you can show up for other people. So this is your chance to look at how things have gone and to consider if things have gone great, then awesome. Keep it going and celebrate yourself for the work you've done. Now, Capricorn, this is also potentially an opportunity for you to consider what needs to be released in terms of who you are and how you've done things these last 6 months. If there are things that you have done that you can now look at while the moon is illuminated in your first house, and you feel that it is not right, it is not in alignment, then this is the moon to release that with, as full moons are also times of releasing things. And this is a perfect opportunity to release that which does not serve you so you can better move into a space that you can shine and show up fully, as that first house is all about the way that you show up. Now, Capricorns, there's a lot going on for you in other parts of your chart. Your home life has Saturn moving through it, which says a lot about what's going on for you at home over these next couple of years, while Uranus is activating your place of the chart that deals with your day to day routines and your health. So, paying attention to any weird health ailments and also looking at how you might change up what you do on a daily basis. That's something that I would highly, highly encourage every single one of you to look into, to unpack, and to better understand. And if that is something that interests you, the link is below. You can book a private reading with me where you'll get a full PDF. It'll be everything that's going on in your chart. And we'll also dive into that together, have a conversation, and see how you can better work with this energy. And with that, Capricorns, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Aquarius, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of isolation, solitude, spirituality, your subconscious, your dreams, meditation, and literally all things that happen in private. The 12th house is not a very social place of the chart. It is certainly not a very visible place. In fact, this full moon might feel very internalized for many of you. It could feel like things that might have been way more hidden deeper into the shadows emerge and come to light during this time. Now, we've had the sun in Cancer and Jupiter in Cancer for the last couple of weeks. Aquarius, you're going to have Jupiter moving through your sixth house in the sign of Cancer for the next year. This is good news in the sense that Jupiter is a very blessed energy and it's moving through the part of your chart that deals with your physical health and your day to day routines. This is excellent in the sense that you might feel way more encouraged to nurture and care for your physical body, as Cancer is the sign of nurturing and caring. And in the place of your chart that deals with your health and physical body, this might look like going to the gym, eating better, taking better care of your skin, going for walks, getting more sunlight, right? Basic things, but things that we don't always do. This is maybe what you've been more focused on, right? The daily things, the tangible things, the stuff that you can literally check off on a checklist and say, yeah, I did that. This full moon in Capricorn, Aquarius says you have to go deeper than what's on the surface, right? So having a 12th house full moon going on for you right now means that you are experiencing a moment where You're being asked to reflect on what's going on internally, right? The work is not all on the outside. There is work to be done on the inside, and that is what this moon is reminding you. If you think back to December 30th, 2024, the very end of last year, what resolutions did you set during that time? Because that's when we had the new moon in Capricorn. And that was when you set intentions. More than likely, some of these intentions, hopefully, were regarding your health and your well being. But I don't just mean physically, although that was probably some part of it, but also on a spiritual sense, on a deeper subconscious note. How are you doing internally? How is your inner being? How's that core of you? This full moon is illuminating the inside of you, literally. You're like glowing from the inside during this full moon, Aquarius, which is pretty cool, actually, and a little quirky, which I'm sure you guys like. But what I mean is, it's all about the inner you, not the outer you. It's not about the external. It is important to go and take care of yourself. But right now, this full moon is reminding you that taking care of yourself doesn't always mean going to the gym. Sometimes taking care of yourself means taking a rest day and focusing on what your spirit needs and not just what your flesh needs. So this is something I would really look into, Aquarius, and tap into how you're feeling during this time. There's a lot going on in your chart. I know Pluto is moving through your first house, which is going to be revolutionary, and you guys are on the forefront of the age of Aquarius, and you deserve a rest day here and there because that's a lot to wear and to bear on your shoulders. Now, on top of that, you've got this Jupiter and Cancer transit, which we went over, is very blessed. You've also got Saturn and Neptune, and they're moving through your third house of communication. So, as an Aquarius rising, as an air rising, you might be seeing a lot of changes to the way that you express your ideas. And that is something that we can dive into together. If you are interested in looking at your chart more in depth, not just looking at the full moon, but looking at where all of these planets are, Pluto moving through your first house, Saturn moving through your third house, there's a lot to unpack. And this is something that we can look at together in a birth chart reading, in a transit reading. The link is below if you would like to book either of those and to look at your chart together, to unpack it more, and to see how you can better work with this energy. And with that, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. Pisces and Pisces rising. Pisces, this full moon in Capricorn is activating your 11th house, which is all about groups, friendships, and the larger social networks that you're a part of. This is also the house of your hopes and your dreams. And the question I want to ask you all, especially as a Pisces, is have you reached any of your goals since the beginning of the year? Your dreams, the wishes that you set for yourself that maybe you didn't tell many people about, but that you know is what you ultimately wanted. How has that gone for you? I asked that because on December 30th, 2024, we had a new moon in Capricorn, which was a new moon in this part of your chart that dealt with your dreams. What was it that you wanted for yourself in 2025, and have you achieved it yet? Pisces, if you can say yes to that question, then this is your opportunity to celebrate yourself, to celebrate with friends, to maybe look at how you've been showing up both online and offline, but within social groups, and to really honor the person that you are in those settings. At the same time, Pisces, if you're looking at yourself and you're saying, I feel like I haven't been showing up the way I've wanted to in these situations. I feel like maybe my friend groups haven't been what I've wanted them to be. Perhaps my dreams have been met, but not exactly the way I wanted, or perhaps they haven't been met at all, and I'm still working towards them. Is there something that needs to be changed, altered, or even released in order for you to better reach those goals? Right? Capricorn is a sign of goal setting. And so having Capricorn in this part of your chart means that you love reaching the goal that you have of whatever dream it is that you set for yourself. And oftentimes, you might find that the people in your life help you get there. So, over the last couple of weeks, Pisces, you've had a lot of focus on the part of your chart that deals with your children, with your inner child, with your creative spirit, and even with dating and romance. Because again, you've had the sun and you've had Jupiter moving through your fifth house, which is the house that rules over all those topics. So the focus has been on your creativity as far as the pleasures that you get from the people in your life and the creative projects that you have. And as a creative sign, this is really healthy. Jupiter will be moving through this part of your chart for the next year. So Pisces, you have full permission to get as creative as possible. But also this full moon is reminding you to take that creativity that you've been perhaps building over the last 6 months and working towards and share it with people, share it with the collective. Don't get so caught up on the work that you're doing and how it feels for you, that you neglect to make sure that you're also putting it out there for everybody, that you're including other people in those dreams of yours and you're seeing how they can help you reach them, right? Maybe sharing the thing you've been creatively working on in private will help accelerate your goals and get you to there even faster. These are things to look at, Pisces, in your chart. And this particular full moon, you might be feeling way more inclined to be around friends, to learn from people that you surround yourself with, the groups, the organizations you're a part of, and to really lean into that collective space. Now, Pisces, you have some other things going on in your chart, as all of us do, right? We've got Uranus, which is moving through your fourth house of your home life. And so, Pisces, I do want to give you guys a heads up that these next 7 years could really rock things at home for better and for worse. But definitely there's going to be some changes going on here. So there's a lot to unpack as there's a lot of planetary shifts going on. If you are interested in diving deeper into your chart and then understanding how all of this is showing up in your life and how you can better work with it, the link is below. You can book a reading with me. I have a full PDF that I will provide for you, a special one that is made for you. It'll include everything going on in your chart and how to better work with that. So link is below if you're interested in booking one of those. And with that, Pisces, I wish you a very happy full moon in Capricorn. If you made it this far, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and tap the notification bell so you can stay up to date with each and every video that I post. This full moon in Capricorn is sure to show up in all of our lives in different ways, but I hope this information was of value to you. If you would like to share about your experience, I would love to hear how this full moon in Capricorn showed up, and was it in alignment with the house of your chart that it was in, and how so? Comment below, share what's been going on with you, and I would love to hear about how you've been working with the full moon in Capricorn energy and all of the energies, as this particular year in general is filled with so many planetary changes. If you haven't already gotten a birth chart reading at least once in your life, you need to. That is one thing I will stand firm on. Birth chart readings are the essential first step in understanding astrology in a very real way. Link is below if you're interested in booking a reading with me. Cancers, you do have 50% off of readings if you're interested in that. And with that, I wish you a very happy, very healthy, very prosperous full moon in Capricorn. I love you all so much, and I will see you guys again in the next video.